Hello everyone, this is Dr. Sangeeta Chaudhary and I welcome everybody to my lecture class. In my today's lecture, I am going to discuss about bilirubin and jaundice. Bilirubin, we all have heard about it. Now let's know what is the source of bilirubin and how it is metabolized in the body and how it causes jaundice. First of all, let us know what is jaundice. Jaundice is the yellowish discoloration of body tissues due to deposition of bilirubin. It is a result of hyperbilirubinemia. Bilirubinemia may be conjugated or unconjugated bilirubinemia, which may result in jaundice. Jaundice is first noticed in the sclera. Why in the sclera? Because sclera contains high amount of elastin, which has affinity towards the bilirubin. So bilirubin easily gets deposited in the sclera, resulting in yellowish discoloration of sclera. We can also look for jaundice or yellowish discoloration underneath the tongue, and when jaundice is severe, it appears in the skin surface, in the palm and sole. Now coming to the differential diagnosis of jaundice, though rare, jaundice may be seen in cases of carotenoderma. But in carotenoderma, the yellowish discoloration typically appears in the forehead and in palm and sole. Carotenoderma is seen in cases of type 2 diabetes mellitus, in cases of hypothyroidism, and it is seen also in cases of excess consumption of carrot, squash, and other leafy vegetables. So these are certain conditions where we may see carotenoderma, which is considered as a differential diagnosis of yellowish discoloration, that is jaundice. Use of certain drugs like quinacrine, sorafenib, sunitinib, these drugs can result in yellowish discoloration of skin. So we need to first rule out the differential diagnosis, then we can confirm the jaundice. Now what is bilirubin? Okay, now we know that deposition of bilirubin results in yellowish discoloration of eyes and skin and other body tissues. Bilirubin is the end product of heme. Now from where the heme comes? Heme comes from the breakdown of the senescent red blood cells. Also some amount of heme comes from the premature destruction of erythroid cell in the bone marrow and also from the breakdown of tissue proteins like myoglobin. Okay, so these are the sources of heme. The breakdown of heme results in formation of bilirubin. 85 to 90% of the source of bilirubin is from the senescent RBCs. Where the bilirubin is produced, the production of bilirubin occurs in the reticuloendothelial system, mainly in the liver and in the spleen. Its metabolism happens in the liver and then ultimately it is excreted through the gut and a little amount through the kidney. Now let's talk about the metabolism of bilirubin, which is very important, and it is very interesting to know about the metabolism of bilirubin, okay, which occurs in the liver. Now this is the sinusoid and this is the space of Tisce. And this is one hepatocyte and this is the bile canaliculi. Okay, now what happens? Unconjugated bilirubin, which is produced from the breakdown of heme, it is insoluble in aqueous solution. Okay, so to be transported into the plasma, it gets very tightly bound with the albumin. So albumin and the tightly bound unconjugated bilirubin runs in the plasma and then it diffuses into the space of Tisce. In the space of the Tisce, albumin is detached from the unconjugated bilirubin and unconjugated bilirubin enters the hepatocyte with the help of carrier mediated protein. Okay, the exact carrier mediated protein is not known, but they are called as bilirubin transporter. BT stands for bilirubin transporter. So this transporter helps in uptake of unconjugated bilirubin inside the hepatocytes, okay, inside the hepatocyte. In the hepatocyte, what happens in the cytosol of the hepatocyte? The unconjugated bilirubin gets bound with the glutathione S transferase group of protein, GST. Okay, GST stands for glutathione S transferase. Okay. So once unconjugated bilirubin is bound to the glutathione S transferase, okay, there is no reflux back into the space of Disse. So glutathione S transferase, first of all, it prevents the reflux back of unconjugated bilirubin into the space of Disse. Also, it helps to maintain the unconjugated bilirubin in the aqueous solution. Now, what happens in the endoplasmic reticulum? Okay, in the endoplasmic reticulum, the unconjugated bilirubin combines with glucuronic acid. Okay, and this conjugation, this is known as the conjugation reaction. This conjugation reaction is catalyzed by this enzyme. What is this enzyme? This is UDP, glucuronosyl transferase enzyme. Okay, UDP, glucuronosyl transferase enzyme. Okay. Now, this enzyme catalyzes the conjugation reaction of unconjugated bilirubin and glucuronic acid, which ultimately forms bilirubin monoglucuronide and bilirubin diglucuronide. Okay. This bilirubin monoglucuronide and bilirubin diglucuronide, what happens to this molecule? This molecule gets transported into the bile, okay, through the canalicular membrane protein MRP2. MRP2. MRP2 stands for, okay, multi-drug resistance associated protein 2. So MRP2 remains in the canalicular membrane, which transports this conjugates, bilirubin conjugates, into the bile canaliculi. Some amount of this bilirubin monoglucuronide and bilirubin diglucuronide gets transported back into the space of Disse. Okay, it is released into the space of Disse with the help of this protein MRP3, that is multi-drug resistance associated protein 3. Okay, and this is actually, this undergoes enterohepatic circulation. It comes into the space of Disse, then again these molecules are taken up into the hepatocyte with the help of this organic anion transport protein OATP1B1 and OATP1B3. Okay, this is the conjugation reaction and the metabolism, what is happening inside the hepatocyte. Now, what happens in the bile canaliculi? Once the bilirubin conjugates reaches the bile canaliculi, okay, it is transported into the gut, that is, it is transported into the duodenum. Okay, then it is transported through the proximal small bowel unchanged. It is not reabsorbed from the proximal small bowel, rather in the ileum and in the colon. What happens to the bilirubin? Bilirubin is acted upon by gut bacteria. Okay, bilirubin is acted upon by gut microbiota. Okay, gut bacteria, and it is converted to urobilinogen. Now, almost 90% of the urobilinogen is excreted, okay, from the gut. It is excreted from the gut, and little bit some amount of that is remaining 10% of this urobilinogen. Remaining 10% of urobilinogen, it undergoes enterohepatic circulation. Okay, it undergoes enterohepatic circulation, and out of this enterohepatic circulation, a little bit amount of urobilinogen escapes the enterohepatic circulation and enters the systemic circulation. Okay, and from the systemic circulation, it enters the renal glomerulus, and then it is excreted through the kidney. Okay, excreted through kidney. So So this is about the excretion of bilirubin. Again, I'll revise. The bilirubin in the form of bilirubin monoglucuronide and bilirubin diglucuronide, they enter the gut, they enter the duodenum, and these bilirubin conjugates, when they enter the ileum and colon, they are acted upon by gut microbiota. Okay, and then urobilinogen is formed. 90% of the urobilinogen is excreted through feces. Okay, and 10% of this urobilinogen, they undergo enterohepatic circulation. And little bit amount of this urobilinogen, they are not taken up by the liver, rather they enter the systemic circulation and they enter the renal glomerulus, from where they are excreted through the kidney. Okay, they are excreted with urine, that means. So this is all about the metabolism of bilirubin and excretion of bilirubin. It is highly interesting and it is very important to know, because as I said, deposition of bilirubin results in jaundice. So we need to know about hyperbilirubinemia. Hyperbilirubinemia may be conjugated and unconjugated. And when we know about the metabolism and excretion of bilirubin, then only we can know about when there will be conjugated hyperbilirubinemia and when there will be unconjugated hyperbilirubinemia. We can know about the conditions in detail in my upcoming class. Thank you so much for listening to my class. I hope it was helpful. Thank you.